Hello, everybody. Welcome to season 4 of Talking Books with Tanisha. I am so excited to do this season. I have a few books that I'm going to be sharing with you all, and this season is really important and special because this is a season that's dedicated to my mom. Um, as I shared in the preview, my mom passed away in February, quite unexpectedly. She had been doing really well, actually, in her battle against breast cancer, and the chemo was really hard on her body. And ironically, one of the things that she was reading, we've been reading together, she'd been collecting a lot of the books that I had been doing my talking books with Tanisha on. So she was reading one of the books actually that I had been talking about, and she didn't quite get a chance to finish it, but it's okay. I thought that what I would do in honor of her is to really talk about some of the books that she introduced to me. I grew up in a family in a home that just always had books around. And my mom was always really encouraging me to read, but also took me to the library, took me to the bookstore, read with me as I got older and started reading by myself. Like, just kept the house full of books. My dad's also a reader. And I feel like my mom, with her modeling the books around me, just helped me really grow into my own love of reading. So it felt really appropriate to kind of go back and think about what are some of the books that she introduced to me or that I found in her boxes of books, or books that is really important in my childhood. So the next few episodes is going to be those books. And these are going to be books that you're like, I forgot all about that book, or that's a book I've never even heard of. Because these is really literally kind of a timeline through, for me, the stories that I grew up with. So if I really sat down and like put all the books together, there wouldn't be enough time or space. So just know that I'm sharing a few highlights. And my biggest opportunity, my biggest purpose right now is just to honor my mom's memory through you with the idea of like sharing books and sharing stories. So let's start off. The first episode of season 4 is right now happening right this minute, and you might recognize the art behind me. Those of you who are children book lovers will recognize Richard Scarry when you see him. And this is his artwork behind me. And that's one of the first books I ever had was like and be introduced, like actually it was a collection of nursery tales by Richard Scarry. And I remember still like this day, like where he had like a little gingerbread person, little gingerbread man running, and his little leg was gone. And I just remember being fascinated with the illustrations in the books and the way he told the stories, and everything was like an animal. And it just was a really fun way for me to be introduced to like storytelling and to reading. And I have a book here that I'm going to share with you. Of course, sorry, oh, there it goes. So Richard Scarry's best first book ever. This is actually a book that my mom got for my daughter when she was born. And Richard Scarry was really important in our house. Like, I had the books, my brother had the books. These were like our first books in our house. And I like this one because it is kind of like it taught you so many different things. So it taught you like shapes, it taught you um, the shapes, and it taught you like the sizes, it taught you colors, it taught you numbers. And there were so many different things happening on these pages. Like, one of the beautiful things about Richard Scarry books is that it's a really busy book. There's always something to look for, always something to find, something to search. And there's so much vocabulary. So everything is labeled. So if there is something you've never seen before, by the time you finish reading a Richard Scarry book, you're going to know the name for that thing. You're going to know what it's used for, most likely in the context. You go from like a busy like street that kind of shows like all the different streets and things that are happening like downtown, and it takes you like into like a home. I just had a picture of a home here, where you have a house and like the family is asleep in the house, and you have the bed and you have the closet and you have like the lamp, and you have like all the different things that are happening in here. Richard Scarry is a book, for those of you who are looking for books for young children. And I would say actually even for kids or adults who are kind of trying to learn vocabulary, I don't think it's dumbed down at all. I actually think it's a really great story in terms of like just kind of awakening your world to like all the different things. What's really beautiful is that he puts the words in context of culture and like living, every single day living. So you can go into like this book and you can see, okay, television is spelled like this. Vase is on top of a television. There's a books and there's bookcases. There's a rising sun. There's a weather vane. there's a car, there's a garage, like everything is built into context. It's a really great book, I would say, for like close one-on-one reading, like in terms of like reading with a little person or reading with a young person, learning their words kind of one-on-one in terms of like having more intimate conversations around the story. You could also do it as a class read aloud or a home read aloud if you wanted to. There's just a lot happening on the pages. So I'd be really careful about overwhelming someone with all the books and all the words. But it's perfect for like sitting down together and kind of searching and like looking for a little treasure find. Um, my mom was really big on building vocabulary. She always used to help me like make flashcards if I had a spelling test or vocabulary test. And I feel like I had a really strong vocabulary base. And I wonder, and I probably give credit a lot to the way that she talked with us and also like these Richard Scarry books, because they really do help prepare you for just kind of like navigating through a really literacy rich world. So my first book is Richard Scarry's best book, first best book ever. Um, get it for someone in your life. Go back in memory lane and kind of find the books. These books are still around. You can find them everywhere. And slow down and take some time to actually look at the pictures and read the words and think about how many like learning opportunities are in here, how many opportunities to kind of advance your own literacy knowledge base, your own vocabulary bank. Um, and mostly just having fun kind of looking at all the really great illustrations and the way that he has his characters kind of travel through the world. So I usually also kind of tell you what I'm currently reading or about to start reading. I am about to open up the Whoopi Goldberg biography, well, her memoir. She wrote it herself. I think it's called Bits and Pieces, and I'm super excited about just reading her story. I've been a Whoopi Goldberg fan in terms of her acting for a really long time. I really don't know much about her story, so I'll be curious to read that. I'm also just very excited to see what you're reading. So I hope that you will share in the comments what you're currently reading. I hope that you will pick up books that are around you. And we're heading into summer. So after we finish this really beautiful season, I'm going to give you another summer dump of like all the books you could be looking at and reading during the summer. Thank you for joining me for this very first season 4 episode of Talking Books with Tanisha. Again, this was all about Richard Scarry and looking at looking at all the beautiful books that he has and looking at the best first book ever. Stay tuned. We'll have more books to share with you. And as always, keep reading. Have a great day, everybody.